Foysol, thank you very much for joining us here today. If you could start by just introducing yourself.
My name is Foysol Choudhury. I'm the chairman of Edinburgh and Ludian Regional Equality Council.
Could you tell us a little bit about your background, where you were born?
I was born in Bangladesh. Then when I was 9 years old, I came to UK. I lived in Manchester for a while. Then my family moved to Edinburgh. I moved to Edinburgh in 1981.
And do you remember much from your childhood in Bangladesh?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I mean, obviously I went to primary school over there. Life is totally different from here. School style. I do have friends from school life, and a few of them are in here. I do meet them. Because I was so young, I cannot remember everything, but still, when I think about it, talk about it, it's totally different from lifestyle in UK.
Mm-hmm. Well, what about it is different?
Obviously, the people are different. The way the schools are different. In UK, when you go to school, you hardly memorize things. So, plus you carry a lot of books in Bangladesh, whereas you don't have to carry a lot in here.
Can you tell me a bit about why your family moved to Scotland? Or to the UK and then to Scotland?
My dad was living in Manchester, and obviously he wanted us to join him over there. But same time, my grandparents were in Bangladesh, and they wanted us to stay over there. Every parent wants their kids beside them.
Mm-hmm.
So dad was living in Manchester, so he brought us down to Manchester. I went to school in Manchester for a little while, then obviously moved to Edinburgh. But even then, I find lifestyle in Manchester is different from lifestyle in Edinburgh.
Mm-hmm.
And what I found though, people in Edinburgh are more friendly.
Okay.
And the family structure, they're all attached to each other. I mean, people care for each other, people care for their family. I wouldn't say it doesn't happen in Manchester or in England, but I feel in Scotland it's kind of stronger, like the way we have it in Bangladesh. In Bangladesh, first cousins are like real brothers. So there isn't, the family bonding is very, very close. And I found that quite strong in Scotland as well, that people do care about each other, people do look after each other, and people do visit each other. Whereas in England, I think, or Manchester, people are busy with their own life.
So did your dad move, was your dad already living in Manchester when you were born? Or,
Yes, he was, yeah.
Okay.
He was living in Manchester when I was born.
And so you grew up with your grandparents in Bangladesh?
And mum. Yeah.
And mum, right.
And obviously. And dad used to come and go, and used to live in here for a few months, then in Bangladesh for a few months.
Right.
He had businesses in Manchester. But I think his intention was to bring us to UK, but my grandfather always wanted us to stay.
Sure.
I mean, you know what grandparents are like.
Sure.
And in Asian culture, people are attached with their grandparents. Sometimes I feel that more than their parents.
Right.
Because I was very close to my grandfather, and my son is very much attached to his grandfather as well. So it's like,
Okay.
and I know when I lost my father, of course I lost my father, I'm still feeling bad, and I will always feel bad. But I do see that in my son's eye as well, that, or not only in my son, my nephew, nieces as well, that how they were attached to him as well.
Sure.
So that's why I was really interested when you were doing the project Roots to Roots. Obviously, I was very much interested. I wanted to know what you were doing, and I think it is always interesting to find out your roots and what it's all about, and
Well, could you tell us a bit about your experiences of coming to Scotland? So when you moved here, or maybe to Manchester initially, were you, what were your expectations as a young boy, I guess?
Expectation was like, obviously, I'll be meeting new friends, and obviously there was a language barrier. we in Bangladesh, it's Bengali in here. So at the beginning, I was kind of a bit hesitant to mix up with people, but it didn't took me long because the kind of character I am, I get very close with people and mix with people, and it didn't take me very long to get into the culture. And obviously, eventually I found there's not much difference. Sometimes maybe difference in religion, but apart from that, I didn't find much. Education-wise, obviously, it's a little different, but it's more organized, and you have to carry less books.
Seems to be the overriding memory.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, I do remember, like when you go to school in Bangladesh, you know you're carrying a lot of books in your, and over here it's kind of a bit different because it's more practical.
And you, so were you socializing a lot with people from different backgrounds?
Yeah, I've always had loads of friends from different backgrounds. I used to play football after school, and I used to play basketball, swimming. So I mean, I've always been heavily involved in sports, badminton, snooker. So I've always had friends from. I mean, I think my parents used to complain I had too many friends. So that's the character I have always been. Making friends, and you know I still do keep in touch with all of them.
Did you go through primary school and secondary school in Edinburgh as well?
That's correct, yes.
Right.
But I think the school life in Edinburgh obviously is kind of, again, it's a little different from Manchester. But I've always enjoyed. I mean, I don't know. I'm not one of those guys who will complain, but there is a difference. You know, you can feel it, and sometimes I think it goes on what sort of person you are as well and how you mix with people. I've never ever had any problem mixing with people. When I was at school, I went to community high school as well, Drummond Community High School, and we used to organize after school clubs, parties, and organize events, multicultural events, football tournaments, badminton, and you know, I think we were really into it, even though there was very few of us from Asian background in our school when I was at that school. But I didn't find any hatred or any differences when teachers were teaching us. So, you know, and we used to get involved on fundraising, charities, and a lot of different activities.
And what was your family's social life like? Did your family tend to, obviously there's quite a big Bangladeshi community here in Edinburgh now. I don't know what it was like back then.
When we first came to Edinburgh, there was only a few families.
Right.
And obviously I had my close family. My uncle was here, who I used to follow all the time and go wherever he used to go, because he's always been involved in fundraising and charities and organizing events. There was very few families, you can count them by hand, and we used to gather around every weekend, go to their houses. My mum and dad and uncles, aunties, they always kept us amongst the community, but the weekend, so we don't forget the background where we are from, and because what I find that Asian culture teaches how to respect people. If someone is 1 year older than you, you don't call them by names. You either call them by cousin or uncle or whatever relationships they are with the family. So these are the few things I've always liked about the culture, because if, say for example, if someone is a year older than you, you don't smoke in front of him, you don't talk about other stuff, bad stuff to him, because you're teaching respect, and by doing that you're teaching that to your younger ones as well.
Do you find that that's similar in Scottish culture, or is it quite different?
Well, things are changing now. I mean, as I said earlier, that every culture is different, every region is different. There is some differences, but not much. family bonding, I would say, with Asian culture is kind of a little stronger.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't say it's not in the Scottish family. But what I saw when we were younger and what I see now, day and night difference. I feel that there's a big change. Things are moving in a direction. I wouldn't say positive way, because I think we're losing the touch. We are all becoming too busy with our own life, whereas we're forgetting who we are and what we are and what we should be doing.
Sure.
And this is where I feel sometimes being involved in this organization, I feel I can see it, that we're losing it. And something has got to be done. I don't know how, but something has got to be done to bring that culture back to us again. Because we are becoming more artificial nowadays. People are running after the business, work, money, whereas end of the day, it's the family. It's your friends you need most. If you're lying in the hospital, who do you want? Your family or money? So sometimes I feel that family is more important, and most importantly, you shouldn't forget your roots. You shouldn't forget what you are, what you do.
Was there anything about Scottish culture that in the early days kind of surprised you, or you weren't expecting, that was quite different or quite similar, that was a bit of a surprise to you?
Yeah, the kilt. Obviously,
Yeah.
In Bangladesh, people wear nungi, but it's kind of different. But I didn't expect that in Scotland, and it was even more surprising to me how it felt when I had to wear one as well.
Right.
And but the family bonding, as I said, is always most important to me. And I did find that it's quite strong in Scotland,
Right.
which is more or less quite similar to the culture I'm from. Whereas, I don't know, maybe I missed it, or maybe I didn't stay in England for too long. I didn't see that over there.
Okay.
But I even now, I mean, I'm involved in restaurants, and I do see that. A few weeks ago I saw a gentleman came in with his grandchild and his son, and I do see how, it's there, but it's not the way it should be. And going back to when we moved first to Edinburgh, there was very few families. So my uncle, my dad, and their friends used to organize events to like Independence Day celebration for Bangladesh or other events day for Bangladesh. That is only to bring in the cultures together. So it's like telling the Scottish culture or the British culture what is Bangladeshi culture is like, what is all about, sharing each other's culture, each other's religion. And our parents did that. And I think that made our life very easy. Right. Because when you go to school, obviously we have differences when we eat, how we eat them, how we, what kind of chicken you're allowed to eat or lamb. We're not allowed to eat pig. So, but we, there is an understanding now, whereas it was not there before. And I would say that we've learned, even our culture, Asian people have learned, Muslims have learned a lot what other religions do as well. So it's all about sharing each other's culture, sharing each other's religions, talking to each other, exchanging dialogues. And those events were very, very successful events. When we used to get loads of people turning up to those events and have cultural events, and we used to mix them up with Highland dance and Kathak dance. So it's like, and it's still happening. If you see it around, it's happening everywhere now.
And did you feel welcome in Scotland?
Yes, as I said, I've always been very friendly with a lot of people. Yeah, now and then you do get people make comments. Then again, they're the one who will make it to anybody. They will make a comment if you're fat, if you're black or white or pink or whatever. But there's some people, you go, whatever culture you do, but I didn't face any, as I said, racism when I was at school or young, but I know that they do exist. Yes, I was welcomed, and I've always been part of school football team or a basketball team or a swimming or whatever, so I wouldn't say I've been neglected.
Were there anything particularly difficult when you were younger? Do you remember?
Yeah, playing rugby in the snow.
Yeah, I can see that.
I was told to play rugby, and I remember I said to a teacher, I said, look, if you tell me to play rugby again, I'll Skype school on that day. So obviously it was like, yes, I mean, right at the beginning, as I said, I was kind of a bit frightened and shy. How am I going to mix up with the people? And there's not many people from Asian background, and maybe that helped me a lot because all my friends were from different background, different culture, mostly from Scotland, and yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I found anything very difficult. Yes, one thing at the beginning I found kind of a bit difficult to explain to my friends, where when the friends wanted to go out clubbing or nightclub or other stuff, where I had to explain to them that, look, I don't want to go. It's not only against my culture, my parents wouldn't like it. It's not that they are they're against me doing anything, but it's just a cultural thing. It's nothing to do with, I mean, obviously I'm a father now. If my son doesn't come home certain time, I get worried. So I'm sure your parents did, everybody's parents do, and when you become a parent, you'll do the same thing. And I mean, we complain during the time, but then when it comes to us, we say, hang on a minute. So these are the sort of things I found. And
you mentioned that language initially. Did you find that an issue that lasted, or did you pick up English quite quickly?
I picked up because I had a private teacher, taught me a lot. And most people in Bangladesh, second language is English, so you're taught English anyway. So obviously it's trying to catch the accent, because when you're in Manchester, this Mancunian and Scotland, luckily Edinburgh is different. I think I would have struggled if I was in Glasgow, even though I don't know where it is. But the thing is, the school has been very, very helpful. The teachers were very, very helpful, and it's like a family. And as I said, I've always, I always felt proud being living in Scotland, and I can proudly say I'm part of. I'm from Scotland, and I'm Scottish Bangladeshi.
I know that you have quite a few businesses in Edinburgh. You've done a lot of charity work as well. What inspired you, I guess, to start with in the business field? What made you want to get into restaurant running or into business?
I was studying. My dad had restaurants in Edinburgh with my uncles, and he took a severe heart attack. And I was in my second year of my uni study, and doctor told he was in the hospital for 21 days, senseless, and we were told that if he goes back to business, we might lose him altogether. And being oldest son in the family, I didn't have any choice. I had to jump into business. I enjoyed my life. I'm still enjoying my life in business, because I've not only restaurant business, I've got involved in other businesses, and obviously then I wanted to do MBA on business and finance. I wanted to move away from what I was doing. So I managed to do what I wanted to do, and sometimes I feel that I made the right decision. Few of my friends became doctor. They don't have any hair left in their head, and they say how difficult it is in NHS, the hours they have to do, and that's why sometimes I feel that I've been very, very lucky that I didn't have to work for anybody in life, and managed to do what I always wanted to do. When I was very little, my uncles, my dad, and my grandparents, I've always found that they've always been working to help the poor people who needs. We have an orphanage back home, which is created by my uncle, and people who doesn't have anything can come and live over there, and our family supports that. And I've seen this from very young age, so I've always I got involved in fundraising and charity from as early as my school life. I did sponsor works, and I did fundraising for Ethiopia, Royal Secret Hospitals, St. Columba's Hospice, and quite a lot of other organizations through business and through sponsor work, or even you're involved many times. We had to do cycling for refugees and Rohingyas or whatever. So I always feel that we always want to help people whatever way we can, whatever amount or whatever, because we can only help few people, but we can create awareness for people like them. So I always love or enjoy doing charity work, fundraising work, and I think you'll say I was the youngest person in this organization.
Right.
When when I was dragged in actually by people because they were looking for young people, and I think I'm still the young one in this here. But what I'm trying to say is that I've always devoted myself because of the business, because of the things I do, because I'm not working for anyone. I can give the time to charity work or organizations which I don't get paid for, and I put a lot of effort, a lot of time to make sure that people get the help they want, and I quite enjoy that actually.
And do you think your Bangladeshi heritage impacted on what you ended up doing in the charity work? Is that something?
Of course, yes. Because I can see the two sides of the world. I can see the two sides. I mean, I've been, since I lost my father and my grandfather, a few of my uncles, I've been going up and down to Bangladesh quite a lot, and I do see things over there and here, and I can see the differences. And I always said that we are very fortunate that we are who we are. There's people in the world who needs us. Maybe you and I cannot, help everyone, but at least one. So I would say that being Bangladeshi and Scottish helped me a lot to be what I am and the person I am.
Are there any achievements that you feel particularly proud of?
Yes, quite a few. I have a great team of people supporting me in the organizations I've been involved with. There's so many organizations I've been involved, being chair, created. I would want to go and start naming them all because it will be unfair, because I know I will miss some. But same time, I was really, really honored when I received a letter from the Queen saying that for my community work and from my the work I've been doing, I was honored MBE. Would I accept it? Yes, of course I would, because I was really honored and I was really happy. And that time I was really, really young as well, so I was like, wow.
Right, yeah.
And if I can get that, I'm sure people like your age, people who's doing good work for the community, that can only be an encouragement for you guys. And I feel that things like that should be recognized. So this is why yourself, and you're part of that as well, that we've started Equality Champions Award from ELREC, where we feel that if somebody has done good work for the community, for the charity, fundraising or whatever, those people should be recognized. So those sort of things are coming in, so it's one linked to other. And I think we've been very successful, and we're planning to do another one next year.
I know, for example, that you've been involved with the Edinburgh Mela, the Bangladeshi Society as well. That seem they do a lot of promoting of Asian cultures and world cultures. Is that something that you feel strongly about?
I would say right at the beginning what I said, that I always feel that everyone should know about everybody's culture. And I was one of the founding director of Edinburgh Mela, and I feel that I'm really proud to be part of that organization, because it became one of the strong organization, not only in Scotland, it's in all Europe. And that brings in every culture together. People are enjoying. I don't know if you have visited in any of them, but it brings in every sort of culture, every type of people in there. Everybody's enjoying themselves. And when I look at it from outside, I smile inside and say, at least we managed to bring smile into few people's face. And these are the sort of things makes you feel good. It doesn't make me any money. It costs me money. Not only me, the other people, other directors who are involved with Edinburgh Mela and organizations like that. So we sit back and say, okay, that made at least one person laugh, one person smile, one person happy. And as I said, if people like us think like that, this world could be a better place.
Can you tell me a little bit about your family life now and what it's like at the moment?
Complain. My daughter is complaining that I don't give her enough time. I have a fantastic family. As I said, my mother, my sisters, my wife, my son, my daughter, my cousins, and the family life I have is very close family. Even with my cousins. And to me, nothing comes before family. Because the family, if I feel that if the family is behind you, you're strong. And no one can beat you. And I feel that I am very blessed that I have a family like the family I have, and I hope everybody else is same. Because to everyone, their family should be their priority. The one thing I find that, and I've started noticing that since I lost my father, that I didn't give him the time I should have given him. And I regret that. That I do feel that I should have spent more time with my father, which I didn't. And maybe now I'm trying to do it with my mother, spend as much time. And
Is your mother now living in Edinburgh?
Yes, she's still in Edinburgh. She's always lived in with me, and my father as well, because as I said to you, I'm very family oriented, and to me, I have a house where my family stays with me. My little sister, my sisters they're all married off. There's only one left, my brother. So I've always been a believer of staying together, and but as I said, at the moment, the only complaint I get from my daughter that I'm not giving her enough time, not taking her away on holiday, because every time I plan to do something turns up. And you know yourself, when you're in business or you're committed to quite a lot of things, sometimes it gets very, very difficult to take the time out. But I said to myself, I will definitely next year do something.
So is there any parts of Scotland or Scottish heritage or culture that you feel is particularly important to you, or you feel a strong connection to?
Do you know, every time, I like traveling, I like driving a lot, and I've been to Thurso, been to Aberdeen, Dundee. I do go around up north a lot, but every time I travel, it looks beautiful. When you go to Loch Ness area, lakes and things like that, it's so beautiful, and but I still think that Edinburgh Castle, I don't know why, I've always liked it, I will always like it, and I think that is something, maybe when I was little I heard, I always think that that's always been something came in my head, even from my younger life. I would say to me, Edinburgh Castle, then if you go to Holyrood Palace, there's a history behind that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So Scotland has always been very historical to me.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I go somewhere, I learn something new. And I'm sure there's quite a lot of other things I've still got to be told.
Mm.
And you know, I mean, other day somebody was telling me about the rail line, not the rail, the boat,
Mm-hmm.
where the water gets raised
Okay, yeah. On the canal.
on the canal.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's something to me,
Yeah.
even though I don't think it would be possible in countries like Bangladesh or Pakistan or India.
Mm-hmm.
But whereas in here, but this quite a lot of people are not aware of this.
Mm-hmm.
So there is history in Scotland. There's still a lot of things to be learned. There's a lot of things to be heard.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, my favorite place has always been Edinburgh Castle because a few weeks ago I went to a dinner at night time, and after the dinner we just walked out. It looked so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think thinking about Edinburgh Castle reminds you of home, maybe?
no, it's too big, and it's too much history over there.
Yeah.
I'll be running in the morning. I mean, I'll be frightened because it's got too much history. I can't cope with it. But I wouldn't love. I would love to have a house like that. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
But that Edinburgh Castle will be too big, and I'm sure the Queen will object to that. So that.
Is there any aspects of your own Bangladeshi heritage that you are very you want to hold on to, and that's definitely something that you don't want to lose?
Respect.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing I've always learned, and I'll do anything to keep that, because I still feel that when you give respect, you get respect.
Mm-hmm.
And you teach others, and that is what life is all about. It doesn't cost any money.
Mm. Have your feelings about Scotland changed at all over the years?
Yes, it has changed a lot. Recently, it changed big time. After the Scottish referendum, I felt that we are divided big time.
Mm-hmm.
And politics is becoming priority for quite a lot of people, whereas the friendship or other relationships are gone out the window.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was one of the worst things happened to us in Scotland.
Mm-hmm.
I hope it gets mended. I cannot see how it's going to be, but we need to wake up. We're a country, very small country, and we cannot afford to be divided.
Okay. Do you think that you mentioned earlier that you feel Scottish? You feel like you're Bangladeshi Scottish. Do you think that feeling of being Scottish was something that happened gradually during your life, or was that quite a quick thing when you arrived?
It happened quite quickly actually, because I was mixing up with quite a lot with friends and schools, and obviously I'm going to school, and maybe being very, very young, and all my friends were from the local. I've always felt part of Scotland. Same time, as I said, I'm a Bangladeshi. I shouldn't forget. As I said, you should never forget where your roots are from, and I've always been proud of promoting both culture, and I've learned it from my parents, and I've been organizing events to make sure that people from Scotland are aware of the culture of Bangladesh and other Asian subcontinent. And I've always been proud of that. And I think I'm the lucky ones. I have a couple of different languages, and understanding of different cultures.
Mm.
Whereas a few of my friends who are from Scotland maybe wouldn't know much about Bangladesh or Asian subcontinent.
Mm.
It's because they haven't been there or they're not from there.
In general, do you feel that immigration has had a positive effect on Scotland?
I think we need more immigrants in Scotland,
Mm-hmm.
skilled ones mostly, because our population is so low. I have businesses, I'm always struggling for staff,
Mm-hmm.
skilled staff. People from the local community, because we do have a big community, we always struggle to get staff in our businesses. Some people don't want to work in the weekends or unsocial hours, whereas if the population was bigger or if we were allowed to bring in people from other country to work for us, I think quite a lot of businesses could have grown in big numbers. I think there is a limit where we are just now. We cannot expand because of that. If you go to NHS, you'll see ethnic minority nurses, doctors, junior doctors. Same time, every business you go into, everywhere you go to, you need people from outside to bring in the skills, the expertise. Whereas I wouldn't say we don't have it in here, we don't have enough. Edinburgh is a place for holiday makers. We do get quite a lot of people. Even then, we are struggling in Edinburgh. We're the capital we're the capital of Scotland. We struggle for people in Edinburgh, and our government needs to do something to help the small businesses. Big businesses can afford it. They can pay a high salary, whereas a small business cannot. And there should be a bar. There should be a limit. You cannot say a junior doctor is going to earn same as a chef. And if the salary for junior doctor is 19, it shouldn't be 28 for the chef. So there's got to be a balance somewhere. I feel that immigrant issue is something our government needs to look at.
Okay, great. And finally, I was wondering I think you might have alluded to this earlier, but in the last few years in Scotland, we've had a number of referendums, the EU referendum, the Scottish referendum, and things like that. Have you noticed a change in people's opinions or attitudes in Scotland in general?
As I said earlier, that during our referendum, it divided us. EU referendum made us, everyone, unsecured. We don't know what's going on, what's going to happen. People are confused. As a business person, I'm confused what's going to happen, right? Same time, we have quite a lot of people in our offices, in our businesses working from European Union. They don't know what's going to happen to them. So they are panicking. And that is not helping. So, as I said, the referendum, Scottish referendum divided us, but EU referendum confused us.
Right.
And at the moment, I think there is more racism in there because people are taking their frustration out on other people's, whereas that should have happened. I do feel that unless that is sorted, the issue with EU referendum, nobody will know what's going to happen. Because at the moment we are middle of nowhere, we're confused, we don't know what's going on, what's going to happen. As a businessman, I'm worried. And I'm sure an European citizen living in Edinburgh will be more worried than we are.
And has that situation changed your opinion on Scotland at all?
No, it's growing until we have a political stability, until we know exactly what route we are taking, where we are, what's going to happen. It's not going to change. It's going to get worse and worse.